It's 6:55. I don't know if I mentioned that. Yes, I've already gone out for my walk. My goal is to do that every day. That's my goal, okay? And that's my hope. And I'm 30 minutes of walking every day. I really believe transforms your life. And at one time, I was 60 pounds heavier than I am now. I'm only 5'5", and at my worst, I weighed 200 and almost 210 pounds, which I think is absolutely unacceptable. But I think part of it was because I lied to myself. I didn't want to, lack of better words, I didn't want to look in the mirror, and I didn't want to acknowledge the situation that I put myself in. I was too busy focused on other people's problems and trying to help other people, and not focusing enough on my own problems. And I think it's true when you get on an airplane and the stewardess goes through that procedure and tries and explains that you have to put your face mask on first before you can help anyone else. And that's a metaphor, I think, for life. So I know, kind of random, but there's a couple things. This video is just going to be me being random, because that's another thing I love to do. I love to just express my ideas. And I know it's a hot take, and I know everything I say is probably incorrect for everyone who's watching, but that's how I get through, and that's how I figure things out. I vocalize them, and I acknowledge my mistakes, and I acknowledge where I'm not thinking correct, and then I course correct. And I think that's helped me through my life. So that way I think if I just keep my ideas in my head, sometimes if I have the idea in my head, I think it's a good idea. But as soon as I vocalize it, and especially when I vocalize it and record it, it becomes far easier to see where I'm wrong. And I actually appreciate putting it on the internet, because that makes it even more of something that I can see. Because people, even though sometimes people comment in a way that's very negative, but a lot of times their point does make sense. So I installed Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin. My roommate in college, shout out to you, Chad. He was way into Final Fantasy. I never tried it. I guess it didn't appeal to me. Last night, the download finished really late, and I just started to learn kind of how to play. I stopped because I was like, you know what, I have to go to bed, because I wanted to wake up early to walk. The other thing is, I've been watching people play FIFA 20, 2000. I can't talk, FIFA 2020, but that game looks really, really good. The game mechanics look really solid. So that's something I definitely want to try out as well. And I appreciate. Granted, I don't speak Portuguese, or I'm hoping that one day. Shout out to you, Claudia Gudalia. I appreciate reading your posts in English and then Portuguese, so that way I can kind of gradually learn Portuguese. I appreciate it, though. No, but I like watching people play a game, and I appreciate the demos too, so that way I can kind of try stuff out. Because there's so many types of games, genres, I don't know what you call it, that I've yet to expose myself to. And I want to, because gaming is a passion for me. So there's two things I do want to touch on in this video, and I'm going to try my best to keep it short. And this is shout out to you, Mr. Burns, shout out to you. And I know $2 million is not a lot of money to you, but I think this is part of the reason. Granted, I work for free, and that's by choice. Well, no, granted, I do have a retirement, which is slightly under $10,000 a year. But I think I'd like to believe that even if that wasn't the case, even if I wasn't making money, I think I would choose to work for free. And the reality is, even though my mother wanted me to go into politics, I've always found it fascinating that when I learned that CEOs work for free. Because here's the thing, if I, I don't want to get into politics about being a CEO, but all I'm trying to say is, Mr. Burns, look, I know I fumbled the beginning of this, but what I'm trying to say is, I know $2 million is a slow Tuesday for you, even though it's Thursday. Maybe $2 million is a slow Thursday for you, but I think that $2 million could be far better spent. And this is me just being silly and random. Hypothetically, if I had $2 million, I would love to buy 10,000 Switch Lights, and I'm sure that Nintendo would provide you or me in my fairy tale world some sort of deal, not deal, but some sort of thing because you're purchasing 10,000 Switch lights. Maybe they could have a package thing where they load a game or two on there, and then we could take those 10,000 Switches to Warsaw, Poland, and think about how many children who've been displaced, who can no longer go home because maybe their home doesn't exist anymore. Think about how many smiles you could put on the faces of these children. For a brief moment, we could actually make their lives better. And I think that's far more efficient way of using $2 million than just, looking at your money, make more money. And granted, I understand that you're a businessman and that you are successful and you have all the money and you control all the businesses, and everyone else should be quiet, especially like myself, because if I'm looking at you right now, eye to eye, I get it. You have everything and I have, well, I mean, maybe in your eyes I have nothing, but I'd like to believe that I understand the value of things, not necessarily just the price of things. And I think that's a very big distinction. And I'm sure I'm wrong. I'm sure you're right. And you have a better way of, living here on planet Earth and making a better situation for everyone. But I'd like to believe that, hypothetically, if the roles were reversed, and you can dare me on this. Look, you can hypothetically say, you know what, you double dog dare me. You want to put up the money. You put up the money, Mr. Burns. You know how you live in the Empire State. Look, I'm not going to mention names because I know you could crush me in a moment. Because I do believe it. I do believe you control far more resources than I do. But, if you look at the movie Braveheart, it isn't just about inspiring people financially or getting people to do things for you because you can basically purchase their home, crush the business they work for. It's about inspiring people within and saying, look, it isn't just about, and here's the thing, I understand that a lot of people, they're like, okay, we're going to send firearms to help in Europe. And I get that, absolutely. But I think something else that is important is not just the means to protect your family, but also hope. I think you have to inspire people to have hope. And I think this is one of those ways. Thank you. I'm not going to I've been rambling. This is a ramble, but I do believe in the concept of, hypothetically, and I know you're not look, and I'm not trying to single you out because you single me out, so I'm going to single you out. But I think there's a lot of people out there. I don't know how many billionaires now exist, but to all the billionaires out there, I mean, look, $2 million. What's $2 million to put a smile on 10,000 kids' faces? I'm going to stop that. Okay, I'm going to end it with that. Okay, thank you. The other thing I was thinking about is just the housing market situation. I think back to 2008 when all the people that I knew, my colleagues, friends, coworkers, they were all buying houses, and I'm grateful. And I'm not saying this is the same. Excuse me. I'm not saying this is the same situation because obviously, today is a different day than it was in 2008. But I can't help but think back and say, you know what? I'm glad that it didn't feel right for me and I didn't buy a house. And, if you talk to my wife, she was in the same situation. I don't know all the details of her situation and why she didn't end up buying a house. But for me, it just didn't feel right. It didn't feel right. So I think about that now. I'm not in the same situation because we already have a house, a home. But I think to myself, if I wouldn't have gotten married and if I wouldn't have had kids, my plan was to sell my current home, our current home. This is me just daydreaming. I would buy something like this Marco Polo, this Mercedes-Benz Marco Polo. I think this is an awesome, because my thing is I don't want to have a lot of stuff. I don't like having a lot of stuff, and I like to travel. And the other thing that this affords me is, granted, I live in a community where everyone is kind, loving, and compassionate towards me. But if I didn't, I would appreciate the idea or the fact that I could just drive my home to somewhere else and be around different people. And if I went a little bit more into this daydream, I would love to have a boat granted, I would have to do a little more research, but I would love to have a boat where I could just drive my Marco Polo onto my boat and then maybe just tour the coast. And then, if I come to a country that I wanted to embark and visit, maybe I could drive my Marco Polo. This is me just daydreaming. Um, I just love to explore, and I know there's different ways to explore. I know a lot of people, they like to go and visit different countries, but they like to stay within their own group or their own, lack of a better word, the people who think similar to them. I love to explore and to actually, just immerse myself in the communities that I visit. So I know in the military there's a group that does that, and I've never been in the military. I'm not a veteran. Um, Maybe one day I might be a veteran, but I would love to serve my country. But at the current moment, I'm trying to serve my family. So thank you. I love you. This is the end of my video. I don't even know how much these Marco Polos cost. And I know to me it's kind of irrelevant, but I like to daydream. I do, because I know that currently I don't make any money, but that's not forever. My goal is to live 60 more years, and maybe one day I will make some money, and maybe I could have this Marco Polo and travel, and have a small little boat, something humble. I don't need something big. Really, all I want to have is my digital saxophone, my clothes, my PS4. Oh, the other thing I do want to end one more thing. I was thinking about this yesterday. I was like, yo, if I love my PS4 and I love my Nintendo Switch, but I was thinking, it just popped in my head. I was like, if PlayStation, or excuse me, Sony, if you created an equivalent PS4 but in a handheld, that would be a difficult choice for me. That would be a very, very difficult choice for me. I don't know. I mean, I love Nintendo and I love Sony, but man, to create a PS4 in a mobile platform, I think that would be an amazing product. Thank you. This is just me being random, so if you want to hate on me, I appreciate the hate as well. I appreciate love and I appreciate hate, because I realize that haters are just showing their love in the way that they know how to show their love. Thank you. Have a blessed day.